Brad, I'm excited to bring on a gentleman by the name of Tom Millie, and Omaha will recognize his company. And if it's not just from sponsoring the restaurant closing sections of our newsletter, it's the auctions that he has done. Now, to give you a quick background, Tom Millie's been an auctioneer since August of 1998. He worked for a lot of different companies as a contract auctioneer. He also is an appraiser, and he launched the Auction Mill, nice play on words, in April of 2011 after closing his real estate appraisal firm. He's done about 250 business liquidation auctions in the Omaha area and in Nebraska. He concentrates usually on a 300-mile radius, but he's done it Minnesota, Iowa, Kansas, Missouri, and California. Probably lost a bet for the one in California. But Tom Millie, thank you for your sponsorship, and thank you for coming on the air.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
This is a very joyful gentleman, ladies and gentlemen. He probably sees a lot of wild stuff. And so you've done everything from the Civic Auditorium to the Bohemian Cafe, parts of Peony Park, the River City Star. Why don't you give us a 30,000 foot view of the Auction Mill and where you're at?
Sure. When we first started, we were basically a consignment auction house. We would have a live auction every Thursday. We did that for about 10 years. It was a great place to come and enjoy. We would always have food, and we'd have a couple hundred people, and never knew what would come in each week. And we would just sell whatever came through the doors. But in 2014, we got a couple big breaks. We did the Woolner's grocery store in Exarban, and we did a pretty decent job at that. We also did the Venice Inn for the Caniglias, or the Canelias, depending on who you are. And then we also got the Civic Auditorium auction that year. So since then, we really took off in the business liquidation field.
So as I have to sometimes limit myself if I go to auctions or not. Sometimes I have to put myself in the do not visit auction. So I ended up with the pari-mutuel safe at the Exarban auction. I don't know if that was you or not, but
no, I know who did it though.
Okay, but what was interesting is I was watching this auction. It went up like $3,000 or $4,000. I'm like, I'm out. And the guy says, I wasn't bidding on that safe. I was bidding on this thing over here. And $125 later, on a Friday evening, I end up with a 4,000-pound, 79-inch safe that only one guy in town would move it. Wingdingers. I don't know if he's still around or not, but no bank company would touch it or anything else. So I had to remove a door in my office. It cost me $500. Then I had to move it again when we moved offices, $700. And then I also bought the Exarban Coliseum sign, and I found out it was 16 feet long. I bought that for a few $100, and I was like, I have no place to put this. And so I gifted it to John Hoyt, who loved it, and he put a couple $1,000s in it. So people go to auctions all the time.
I actually sold that sign.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, John brought it in, I think, in 2017 or 2018 to one of our big antique auctions, and then we ended up selling it. I could probably look up and see where it is today if you want it back.
But that's kind of fun where you see all these items. What are some of the stranger items that you get?
Well, people often ask me, like, what's the craziest thing you ever sold? And there's I used to have a couple stock answers, but one time I got in trouble for saying it.
Do it.
But people brought in these.
Jeff's not on the show today.
So they brought in these Native American scalps.
Okay.
And so I had promoted it, and we had it on the auction. And then we got a nice call from a special agent from the authorities, and they said, yeah, maybe that's not such a good idea.
Now, were they Native American scalps or the white man scalps?
Probably white man scalps.
I was going to say, yeah, that wasn't.
But I don't know. You never know.
It's for another show, but.
Yeah. And then we sold a pile of manure once, so I thought that was kind of interesting, but that really turned people off usually.
Was that fertilizer? Or?
Yeah. So now I just say it's the riverboat from the River City Star. That's my go-to safe answer.
What do you want people to know about the Auction Mill, and whether it's a restaurant, which that's probably 75% of your business, but you do all types of. You do small items. Do you auction buildings off?
We did. I had my real estate license for a long time. It's one of my biggest regrets is not doing my continuing ed and losing it. So I'm in the works of getting that back. I do refer that out. If we get calls on real estate, I'll do that. But primarily we do the personal property. 75% of our business, I would say, are business liquidations. It doesn't have to be restaurants. It can be contractors and We do laundromats all over the country now. Apparently, I'm the only laundromat auctioneer in the country, so we get calls all over the country to do laundromats.
What's the website for the auction mill?
That's it. It's theauctionmill.com.
That works out pretty well.
Yeah.
Now I've been a spotter for some auctions before, and what happens, especially charity auctions, Scott Moore does a lot of those, and it gets really expensive for me. I thought I was bringing it up for it was a visit to the premiere of Nebraska with Alexander Payne, and they kept moving the deadline and everything else. And then it was in Los Angeles, and I was in this crowd of a lot of people that were bidding, and I think I bid. It was either $3,000 or $5,000, just thinking and I was serious about buying it. I wasn't being nefarious or anything, and nobody bid against me. And my wife got a new custom made dress, and it turns out they're like, okay, in 3 days you got to be in Los Angeles. And I gave it to friends of mine, and Quentin Tarantino was the MC, and I would have flown out for that. So auctions are fun, ladies and gentlemen. They're very dangerous. And so, what is the state of restaurants right now when it comes to auctions? We're seeing a ton of restaurant openings, but we also show all the closings on the website.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think it's peaked lately. We've had more. Seems to be the restaurant auctions are getting busier and busier. I don't know why the last 2 years. Every time we do it, I always sit down with the owners and I ask them, what's the situation? A lot of times their lease is coming up and they just can't stomach an increase in the lease. Like for Sortino's, we're going to be doing the Sortino's auction coming up. And for them, they're just tired and worn out, and the younger generation doesn't want to take over the restaurant. But what's nice is usually when one closes, two open. So a lot of our equipment will go towards, like a lot of new restaurants in town have equipment from our auctions. So a lot of our buyers
quality stuff,
great stuff, yeah. And we always educate them and tell them, this equipment's good. This one's got some issues. We try to do a pretty.
So Sortino's, I believe the building's already sold, and it's not going to be a restaurant, I'm told.
That's what I'm hearing.
Well, I was just say I used to work in the bars and restaurants for a long time, and getting a good piece of equipment was so much more affordable at the auction. One of the bars I worked at, the owner, he was always checking out the auctions and buying different equipment. And, there's different civic groups in town too that have their own, like the Sons of Italy and places like that are always looking for more equipment too. And auctions are a great place to find some of that. Yeah,
and restaurant owners are just fun to talk to, period. And now that I know most of them in town, if I walk in, people get scared. They're like, oh, crap, they're going to go, are we going out of business or something? I was like, no, I just came here to eat.
Well, Tom Millie, we appreciate you coming on the show. We appreciate your sponsorship of the restaurant closing sections on the website, growomaha.com. And is there one more auction you want to tell us about?
We've got the Sortino's auction coming up on June 1st, and Meatball in Blackstone is actually tomorrow it closes. There's a lot of really good equipment on that auction as well.
Do you do it online as well?
Yeah, 99% of our auctions are online now. Since the pandemic, we really turned into an online auction company.
Oh, excellent. Okay, theauctionmill.com, ladies and gentlemen. Tom, thanks for coming on.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.